All right, so Anthony, everyone's here who is going to be here.
Okay.
George is absent tonight. And so I know we have the public hearing on. I did upload the public hearing protocol to the Dropbox.
Yep.
But so whenever you want to get started, whenever you're ready.
Okay, we got a call to order. It's 7:04 p.m. on April 21st, 2021. I would like to have a roll call. Helen,
Rep.
where'd you go? Oh, there you are.
Mike Carpenter.
Here.
Hillary.
Here.
Warren.
Here.
David.
Here.
George is excused. Anthony.
Here.
And okay, so we have 6 people present.
Okay. Approval of the minutes from April 7, 2021. A discussion and some action.
Hillary Fortune's on the board.
So moved.
Thank you, Mike.
Warren will second that.
Thank you, Warren.
Any discussion?
No discussion.
Okay, hearing none. Can I can I call people now, please?
Yes.
Okay, Mike,
Aye.
Hillary,
Aye.
Warren,
Aye.
David.
What'd you say?
No, I wasn't here.
I did, okay, well, you don't have to vote, but just so you know, David, you can vote, even if you weren't here, if you read the minutes.
Okay, yes,
You don't have to.
aye.
Aye, okay.
Yeah.
Anthony?
Yes.
Yep, and me too. So that is 6-0.
Okay. The correspondence, anybody have anything they'd like to say? Or have any correspondence? I got a real quick one. I want to apologize for the last meeting. I got a little emotional, hot under the collar. I think everybody on this board knows how passionate I am about cleaning Route 6. And it just kind of like gets to me a little bit. I've been doing it. We've been chasing this a long time. So I guess you could say I had enough of nothing happening. But then I received an email from Denise that the town council wants to have a solo meeting, a special meeting with us, I believe in May.
I think it was May 20th.
Yeah, and sometime like that. And I think I know the way everybody on the board feels about cleaning up Route 6. And it'd be kind of nice if we can all be there. And if you can't make it, that's fine. I'm going to bat by myself. I'll take it all on. I really don't care. Okay, so, and that's it. There's my correspondence. We can move up pretty good unless anybody else has anything to say to that.
And I'll just clarify, it's going to be a joint meeting between the town council and the planning board. So we'll probably need a quorum of planning board members to be there.
Correct, Michael. I'm sorry. We're going to need a quorum. And hopefully you guys can, most of you can show up so we don't look like the goofs this time.
I'll follow up with the exact date with all the members. I'm forgetting if it was the 20th or the 27th right now, but I'll follow up.
I think you said the 27th, Michael, and I asked her to move it up like tomorrow. And
Okay, it was in the minutes.
No, Helen, what I think Denise had offered, rather than it, when we were at the last meeting in the minutes, she had said, you can come to one of our regularly scheduled meetings, I'll make it light. And then she said, rather than that, she's gonna hold a special town meeting, so this is the only thing on, and we have full kind of reign. She told me the date too, and I apologize, but I don't remember what it was.
I thought it was the 27th, to be honest with you.
It's in an email from Denise. I'll get it out to the board.
That number was sticking in my head, but it's irrelevant. We'll get the date and we'll do it.
The 27th is the date that she gave us at the last planning board meeting.
Yes.
That is probably not
Okay,
correct.
that's probably not, that's
Right.
probably, that was in the minutes, that's probably not the right one.
Yep.
Michael,
Just informational, does everybody have a copy of the 2018 letter on blight that I wrote for Joe Carey? And the 2019 letter that I wrote on blight for Ron Savazio? And the state building maintenance code, does everybody have a copy of that? We should all
Mike, I
have
would've-
that
I would've
going
sent-
into the meeting.
you
I
did
would've-
send, Michael, you did send those letters.
Yeah.
Let me backtrack and just say if anybody needs a copy of those letters that were written or the state building maintenance code that pertains to blight, please email me and I will send it directly to you.
Thank you,
And-
Michael.
And Mike, I'll create a Dropbox ahead of that town council meeting with those documents in there for people's reference, so that you all have that at your fingertips.
Thank you, Mike.
Okay, good. Moving forward, we got a public hearing on a major subdivision, preliminary plan, discussions and actions, proposed 6 lots. AP3 Lot 34, Pierce Road, T Parker Road. The applicant is the ever so smiling Michael S. Barnes and Susan Barnes. Okay, Mr. Barnes, you want to get in here live?
Do you want to read the procedure for the public hearing?
Okay, go ahead. I don't know if I have the procedure.
I'll bring it up. I got it. Hold on.
Go ahead, Michael. I probably do. In one of my drop boxes.
Yep, so it's any person who wishes to speak will sign his or her name, but in this case, we're on Zoom, so you are present with your name signed in and will be placed in under oath. All questions and statements must be addressed to the board. There will be no crosstalk in the audience. Once the application is read, the chair will hear from the applicant first. It is the applicant's burden to present evidence supporting his or her request. The presentation must be clear and to the point. After the applicant has completed his or her presentation, the board will ask any questions to their satisfaction. The hearing will be opened to the public. Once all testimony is heard, the board will close public comment and wrap up discussion. The chair will then accept a motion to approve the application along with the required findings of facts and conditions. The board reserves the right to postpone a decision until the next regularly scheduled meeting on any hearing, and that's it.
Okay. I'm trying to find what I need, which I lost everything. Okay, where do we go from here? I lost all my.
So
Very
you basically, Anthony, you've read the basics of the application as were placed on the agenda. So if, I believe Dr. Barnes is representing himself in this matter, so we can swear him in and he can start his presentation. I do know that there's an engineer or a surveyor, so I don't know if you want to be qualified. If Dr. Barnes wants him to be qualified as an expert, we can do that right off the bat too, so that then they can kind of just freely discuss and we don't have to interrupt discussions to do that.
Thank you. Thanks, Joanna. Appreciate it. I got so many emails from you, Michael, with so much stuff on here. I probably erased the most important one. Knucklehead.
That's why I switched to the Dropbox. I think that's gonna be a little bit.
I dropped the Dropbox. It's gone. Okay. So,
Start with swearing Dr. Barnes in.
So whomever is making the presentation, let me know so I can write that down, okay?
Norbert Thurian will be making the presentation, and yes, I'd like him sworn in as an expert for the purposes of this proceeding.
Thank you, Dr. Burns.
Am I swearing them in?
Please.
Please.
Okay, please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Norbert, you're
on,
muted.
You're on mute.
I do.
And can you please say your full name and spell your last name for the record?
My name is Norbert, N-O-R-B-E-R-T, Therian, T as in Tom, H-E-R-I-E-N.
Thank you.
I'm a professional land surveyor and been in this business almost 50 years now. Have appeared in front of this board many times, and have participated in continuing education with regard to urban and rural development, soil evaluation, wetlands, and everything else. And it's through National Land Surveyors Developers Inc., which is my company, that we prepared the plans and did the provided the various services that it required. And
I'm not hearing you very well. You prepared the plans and did the various, and I'm not familiar with the project either, but I'm not necessarily hearing you very clearly.
okay, I'll speak a little louder and slower. And it's through National Land Surveyors Developers Inc. that we developed the plans and did all of the surveying, engineering, and submissions to local and state agencies to obtain various permits to be able to show the planning board, which we have in the past, that the site is a viable site. The 6 lots that are proposed were
I'm just gonna stop you right there, because you finished with your qualifications. Anthony, do we want to qualify, does the board, would the board like to qualify him as an expert?
Make
So
a
moved.
motion that we accept Mr. Therian as a qualified expert.
Thank you,
Seconded.
Warren.
We have a second. I believe Mike seconded that.
Seconded.
In favor?
I'm sorry, hold on a minute.
Okay.
Thank you, Mike. Sorry. Okay, Mike,
Aye.
Hillary,
Aye.
Warren,
Aye.
David,
Aye.
Anthony,
Aye.
me too, so that's 6-0.
Sorry, Norbert, you can continue.
no problem, I understand. Well, let me just go through a quick overview, and then if in turn anybody has any questions, by all means ask away, and however you want to handle it with regards to whatever questions there may be from the public at large. We're glad to answer those questions. We're talking about Assessor's Plat 3, Lot 34, which is about a 73-acre parcel that has frontage on both Pierce Road and T. Parker Road. The zoning is AR, and when we were first asked a little while ago now, a number of years, by Mr. and Mrs. Barnes to take a look at it, the first thing we do is a property boundary survey to find out exactly how much land there is there, a topographical survey. We have a certified biologist determine where the wetlands are, and then we submit that to the state to verify that the delineation is correct. We developed a plan, submitted it to the board to see if this was making any sense with regard to what was being proposed. We then proceeded in doing on-site soil evaluations to determine the acceptability of this property, this type of soil, this locale, for on-site septic systems. We also now, you have to submit 2 wetlands under 2 provisions. One, the typical wetlands, we're maintaining the typical front setback requirements off of the wetlands as well as the stream. Plus now you also have to apply to RIPDs with regards to how you're handling the runoff. You just can't build a home anymore. You also have to.
I'm sorry, but could everyone try muting themselves? I'm really struggling to hear you. I don't really think that's what the issue is, but if someone coughs or sneezes, I didn't hear what you just said. Handling the runoff, with
Yeah,
regards to
yeah.
how you're handling the runoff. You just can't something.
No, you just can't build a home now. Now you have to intercept the runoff off of any impervious area such as roofs and walks and gather that runoff and allow it to percolate into the ground through a number of different methods. In this particular case, by and large, we had the vegetated swales, which are depressions that are.
I'm struggling.
Can everybody else hear me?
You can, but they don't have to record it. I have to hear every word and I'm struggling for every word. You just don't sound very loud to me.
Okay.
If maybe just the ground in a number of different methods, and in this particular, I'm just struggling for every word.
Okay. In this particular instance, by and large, we utilize vegetated swales, which are depressions in the ground that are created so that the runoff off of walks, roofs that runoff is gathered and allowed to percolate into the ground rather than quickly go into abutting wetlands or congregate someplace where that's not handled. That requires a permit to the state, which in turn we did, and the Wetlands Department of the Department of Environmental Management granted the permit for this site, what is being proposed and how we're handling the runoff. With the testing that took place for on-site septic systems, because this is greater than 5 lots, we had to submit to DEM for what they call a subdivision site suitability. And that was reviewed and found acceptable that these 6 lots can be developed as shown, and that's under permit number 1912-1093. The 6 lots all meet the zoning requirements. By and large, these lots are ranging in size from 4.9 acres up to 28 acres. That's lots 4 and 3 as shown on the plan that the board has in front of them. By and large, again, they are ranging in size from 9 to 11 acres, grossly more than the minimum zoning requirement. They all have frontage and access out to public roads. And as indicated during previous meetings, we're hoping that the planning board finds this acceptable and find it meeting the comprehensive plan and the subdivision rules and regulations of the town of Forster, so that the lots could be developed. The end.
Anyone have, Helen, you have a question? Go ahead. Yeah, you're muted, Helen. There you go. Okay.
Did we determine that the lot on the corner, which has the 300 feet of frontage on Pierce Road, but the entrance on T. Parker Road was okay? Did we determine, check zoning and determine that that lot is allowed because it has 300 feet on Parker Road, on Pierce Road, that it's allowed to have its entry on T. Parker Road?
Yeah, I thought we did. We did do that, didn't we, Michael?
Yeah, that was a part of the discussion at the last, the master plan approval. We had that discussion and it was determined, I believe it was determined at that meeting that that was fine. I think the board at least didn't have an issue with it, but I since looked into it after that meeting. There's nothing that would require a driveway to be on the frontage. It's just, required that a lot needs to have access. It has the legal amount of frontage required. But I'm not aware of any regulation or ordinance that would require the driveway to be located on the same frontage. So, yeah. I believe I spoke with Jeff Likens about this as well afterwards. It's been a while, but I'm pretty sure I had the conversation with him and he was agreeable as well, the building official.
Yeah, there are a number of houses in Forster that fall into the same thing, just like that. Anybody have any other questions for Norbert? Anybody have any questions for Mr. Bonds? Helen?
We received a communication from the Foster Conservation Commission, and I would like that to be part of the record if possible. And the Conservation Commission was kind enough to walk the lots and to make recommendations on the use of the lots, the use of impervious or not use of impervious materials, and also the preservation of some particular noteworthy stands of trees.
Did they send something out, Michael? I didn't see it.
Yeah, that was sent out with the rest of the information. I can quickly put it on the screen. Barbara, I'll take it right off. So when people start talking, you can see them talk. But I'll just quickly put it on the screen so people have a reference.
Thank you, Michael. Real quick, I'd like to just see what they have to say, but they're not a. Well, okay, I have it in front of me. Okay, everybody see that? There you go. Okay, you can put that in the record if you want.
So, Helen is asking that to be marked as an exhibit.
Is that what we're doing? Exhibit A?
Well, I think Exhibit A would be the application itself.
Okay, Exhibit B?
Mike, is there anything else that should be Exhibit B?
No.
Do we
It's-
have to DEM permit?
Yeah, I do. I do have that. Do you want to make that Exhibit C?
I would make the DEM permit B and
Yep.
then this conservation C. Does the applicant have an objection? Dr. Barnes?
No, by all means. And with regard, if I can speak, Mike, with regards to the Forster Conservation Commission,
Yeah.
you know, they voiced their concerns, and then the last page, they had recommendations, and all of those can be part of the overall review and approval process.
Anthony Warren has his hand up. Warren,
Go ahead, Warren. I'm sorry.
you're muted, Warren.
Norbert kind of answered my question. I wanted to be questioned if the applicants had had the opportunity to review that. My reading of it for the drainage and the runoff and the plants and items like that tend to be addressed in the DEM RIPD's permit. Norbert, would you feel that was a fair statement?
Yes.
I have a question to Joanna. The Forster Conservation Committee, who wrote that letter and made their recommendations. I know I'm going to ruffle some feathers, but my question is, what do they have to do with this? They're not a legally binding town affiliate. They're not DEM. They're not professionals in that field of what's going on, other than trying to save a pine tree. So does what they're doing, does that have any weight for this board?
It is not binding. It is just simply a recommendation of the Conservation Committee, which I believe are members of Foster. They are appointed to this commission, and I think that they're tasked with trying to, make recommendations and go around and conserve your rural nature, your rural character. But again, they're just recommendations, just things that people can take into account for responsible type development. But it is not binding. I knew you were gonna ask that.
You knew I was going there, right?
I knew you, yes.
So basically, anybody can make a recommendation to Dr. Barnes on what to do with his property.
Yeah, Anthony, I'll just fill in a little more there. It's a requirement of the preliminary approval process that we solicit.
It's a requirement that we hear from the Conservation Commission?
It's a requirement that we solicit their input. I think they are noted specifically in the ordinance, but all the departments and boards, or specific boards, are noted as being required for us to solicit them for their opinion. So I go ahead and do that when I receive an application. The Conservation Commission are the only ones that responded to that request. But as Joanna was saying, it's certainly not binding. It's their review. It's their recommendations.
I just wanted to know we take their recommendation for the job well done.
Yes.
Okay, moving forward.
Warren has his hand up. Anthony, if you want.
I'm sorry, Warren. I'll tell you what. I can't even
All right, Mike, along those lines, so they are a part of the required technical review committee, Michael?
Yes, I believe. That's what Michael said.
Yes.
Along with the continued raised hand, did we also solicit but not hear from the engineering board?
Correct.
Okay. That answer your question, Warren?
Yes, it does.
Thank you. Moving forward, is there, I guess this would be a time for any comments from the public?
As long as nobody else on the board has anything, yes, we'll move to public.
Okay. Would this be anybody in favor?
I think you would ask a butters in favor first, or butters that get opposed first.
Okay. Any abutters opposed that are here at this meeting would like to speak at this time?
I see George's iPad with a hand raised. Go ahead and unmute yourself.
You're muted, George's iPad.
And we'll need to swear him in before he,
How about now? Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now. You need to swear yourself in. We need to have your name, address, phone number, social security number.
no, just the
Oh.
stenographer will swear him in. He has to be under oath because it's a public hearing.
Okay. My name is George Connors, Connors.
Wait a minute, I'm still writing. Please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes,
Please state your full name and spell your last name for the record.
my name is George Lewis Connors, Connors.
Are you in a butter, George?
Yes,
Okay.
we are on the south end of T. Parker Road. If you look on the plat map, it's lot 30.
Okay.
I am not opposed nor at this point approving of the plan. I have a question, and I don't know if this is the right time for a question or not.
Please.
It is.
What's the question? Let you know.
My question, having looked at the plans, is a watershed question. We are downstream. Our property includes the draining stream, which then runs into the Audubon. all of the Pierce Road properties drain in this through the stream, the so-called Turkey Meadow or Turkey Swamp Brook, depending on which map you look at. So my question is, having looked at the maps and seen proposals for retention ponds and things like this, in the event of a watershed problem, what is the mechanism and who is the responsible person to seek an inquiry or something? There's a lot of approvals, the town, the state, the engineering. So my question is, I've seen a couple of things that suggest approvals along the way. I assume those approvals will march through. In the event that something doesn't work out as people plan, could you outline the mechanism for me for a review of this? Just so I understand what to know.
I'm not sure I understand the question.
Okay, let me rephrase it. So I understand that the lots have retention ponds designed into them.
No,
These are
Rain gardens.
rain gardens. Okay, rain gardens, and these are designed to absorb excess rain in the event of heavy rain, spring runoff, flooding conditions. Correct?
No.
Okay, this is what I'd like to. Okay, please explain, sir.
There to pick up the water, not excess water, but they're there to pick up the water that runs off the roofs and places the water in, I'm going to call it a puddle, because 99.99% of the time they dry. They look like part of the lawn. And this is the requirement that the state, so that we don't overburden downstream any other culverts or anything. It's what they call a point source discharge. In other words, where you're creating this runoff, you place it back into the ground at that location so that it goes through the ground, it sustains the aquifer, it sustains the wildlife in that locale, rather than dumping it into a catch basin, into a pipe, and then putting it in a stream, and then immediately, 10 minutes later, it's going down the road.
Okay, thank you.
There.
So it's the surface area to accommodate the new rooftops.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, all right, I understand that. I guess my larger question is, in the event of, I don't know how to say, in the event of some sort of a chemical issue, stream contamination from upstream, I would like to understand the process of redress, since we are in the downstream position of this. This is my concern. And like I said, I'm not against or in approval of the development. I would just like to understand where I would take a concern if in fact there were trouble at some point.
Well, Mr. Condon, what I would think, DEM has, Dr. Bonds and his engineers have spent a lot of time and money here in DEM's approvals. Now, what you're saying is that if there is a chemical spill or something of that nature, that would be the homeowner who builds the home and something of that nature happens. Is that what you're getting at?
That's what I'm trying to understand. That's right. Has that been built into the process?
That would have nothing to do with the project moving forward, but I would think if that was to happen, you would have to contact DEM. They would have to follow up and see where that spill came from, if there was a spill. I mean, if the guy changes the oil in his driveway and throws it on the ground, you might see an oil slick in the stream, and you would have to contact the authorities, and they'll follow up and they'll follow that trail to where it goes and put whatever fines or whatever your concerns. Yeah, I would be also, but it really would have nothing to do with the building or the homes there. Hopefully we don't have anybody there that is opening up a mechanic shop upstream. But you never.
Again, zoning comes into issue here. This area of the community town of Foster is zoned AR. And that means if you have a large enough piece of property and you have frontage and you can show that you can put an on-site septic system, meet all the rules and regulations, then you have the ability, you have the legal right to build a house. And if in turn the occupant of whoever resides there, they have zoning regulations that they have to abide by. If all of a sudden they're starting to do something on a small industrial basis where they're containing heavy metal solutions and such, well, they're responsible, just like any other situation. If a guy has a dog that bites you, well, he's responsible. So the occupant of that house would be the responsible person if in turn they did something they shouldn't be doing.
Right, if it could be identified as such, right, okay.
Anthony, and just to answer the gentleman's question further, if something were to happen during construction, it would be the same process. I mean, you could always call the building official, and they could look at it. They would likely forward the concern to DEM, but you could also directly call DEM. That's how you would address it were an issue to come up.
All righty. That answers my question. Thank you.
Thank you for your concerns.
No question.
Anyone else? Anybody else have a question for Dr. Bonds or Norbert that opposes this? Anyone?
Yes, this is Michael McAllister.
Can you video yourself, Mr. McAllister?
Yes, could I be heard?
We need to see you, sir. There you are. Okay, Mr. He has to be sworn in.
Yes.
Barbara, would you swear him in, please?
Please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Please state your full name and spell your last name for the record.
Michael McAllister, McAllister.
I have to say, I can't hear you very well. I'm sorry, if you want to give your address, go ahead.
21 T. Parker Road. I am not an adjoining or abutting property. My concern with having development further down the road is the condition of the gravel roads down here through the rich part of Foster, as it's called. The dust goes about 30 feet in the air when the cars whiz down T. Parker by my house. My wife has a breathing problem, and it's like a constant rain of dust. And that, you know, that's really not the developer's, perspective. Pierce Road has a couple of real pinch points. Any additional traffic, they may be out here, for an accident. There's a couple of over the hill and around the corner spots. And that we have more people on the road is wonderful, but the condition of the road doesn't support it in my estimation. So I don't know if anything has been discussed about this. This is my first comment.
I don't think that Norbert or Mr. Bond, but we do have a new DPW director, the Senator Gordon G. Rogers, who maybe if you mentioned it to him about the dust, he can maybe try to put some different material down on that road. He seems to be doing a wonderful job here in town. And I think if you mention it to him, he might put down a different gravel or something that wouldn't be so dusty. I mean, I think a majority of us all live on gravel roads here in town. And like you said, depending on the traffic, on the dust, but I think Mr. Rogers is doing a wonderful job. He could probably help you out. He knows dirt. If anybody knows dirt, he knows dirt, and he can take care of that for you. That would be my recommendation to you. Michael, I don't know anything else that we can do that with.
Yeah, Anthony, I was just going to say that T. Parker and Pierce are public roads with their public gravel or dirt or some mixture thereof. There is like a stated goal within the comprehensive plan. Actually, this might be the working comprehensive plan and not the last one. But there is a stated goal to maintain dirt roads as a part of keeping the rural character of the town. That's something that's an expressed interest. But Anthony, I like your idea of, contact DPW. Maybe that's something they can put on their priority list as far as addressing that, if that's an issue. Beyond that, Joanna, do you know if it's possible for folks to petition the town to create paved roads? I assume that's a process that's available.
Yes, and I will say that I think it also depends on what other people on the road want, because some people are very adamant that they want to keep the gravel roads, but it is a process. And I do know that we pave we're paving new roads.
Yeah, what they've been doing is they put away, the town puts away a couple of $100,000 a year, and someone picks what roads to get asphalted or to redo dirt roads. But I honestly think if anybody knows dirt, all kinds of dirt, town dirt, regular dirt,
Anthony,
the DPW director who put the best dirt he can there, and to control the dust. Because there are certain gravels, obviously. I mean, and when what you were saying, Michael, when they fix the dirt, sometimes what they do is, I don't know if your road gets run off, and sometimes there's ruts and stuff from heavy rain. When they come out to fix them, if they don't do it the proper way, and they just put any gravel down, you would get more dust, I would think. Maybe I would seriously call Gordon. He would take a look at it. That would be my concern, especially when there's more vehicles on the road.
Yeah, I live on a gravel road, and periodically what we have them do is throw some calcium down. It helps draw the moisture and prevents that dust from kicking up. Like I said, I've been doing this a long period of time, and there's been a couple of times where people petitioned to have their relatively rural, ruddy road to be paved. And guess what happens with the speed? It more than doubles.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, these little over the hill blind spots become very dangerous. So
good point.
You have to be careful what you ask for, because it's not always a better situation. The rural aspect, I get it, but it also keeps the speed down, and because it'll double almost certainly, and that's not a good typical situation. But yeah, typically contact DPW, and I'm sure that Mr. Rogers is going to work with you one way or the other by either putting some chemicals down to prevent this, and that really works. I'm telling you, it really works. Or as Anthony has just suggested, putting different materials down.
Bet you it's not dusty tonight. Is there any other concerns, Mr. McAllister?
I don't think so. If they were to widen some areas, it would probably, that I'll talk to Mr. Rogers.
Yeah, Gordon would be the guy to talk to about that stuff. Warren, you got something you wanted to mention?
What I was going to mention, that the town has protection for the entrance and exits, and I don't believe that it's done at this stage, but when construction is granted for a building permit, one of the things they have to do is get a street opening drainage swale approval so that the construction of the new driveways do not wash out or undermine the existing part of the roads.
But Warren, if you take a look at the plan, every driveway has a typical construction apron that's there so that the material that may be picked up in the tires that can be dusty is deposited on site. It helps with regards to the runoff also, and that's a pretty basic standard these days. That has to be constructed during.
Exactly. And every entrance, Norbert, you're right. Every entrance on a construction site has to be prepared the right way so that doesn't happen.
Yep.
Thanks, Gordon. Anybody else?
There is somebody with their hand up.
Yeah, I see a
Says
Jacqueline.
But I think that might be the wrong name.
He doesn't look like a Jacqueline.
You never know.
Good evening. It's Michael Galligan, 10 T Parker Road.
We're just gonna have you sworn in.
That's fine.
Barbara, can you swear him in?
As long as everybody can hear me okay.
Please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give should be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to help you God?
Yes.
Please state your full name and spell your last name for the record.
Michael Galligan, Galligan, 10 Thomas Parker Road.
Your concerns, Michael.
Yeah, good evening. I have to echo what Mr. and Mrs. McAllister were testifying to, in the fact that I'm not in favor of paving our road at all. I'm certainly on T Parker Road as well. However, I do have concerns related to driveway cut-ins. We have a neighbor whose driveway was cut in, and I'm sure it went through planning and zoning and those types of things. And the runoff through our property is pretty extensive. We're down, I believe the address is, I think it's 12 or 12A T Parker, and the water runs down. So I'm hoping that those runoff concerns are addressed. But I was wondering related to traffic, if any traffic study has been done, because obviously with speed on a road, paving the road is not gonna make a difference. People are going 40 or 45 down our road already. So I don't think paving is gonna address that. Has anything been done to address a study of traffic or expected cars per day, those types of things? And again, I'm much like Mr. Connors, I'm not in favor or against at this point. I'm just seeking more information to see what's been done to look at what types of things have been addressed within the plan. And I have looked at the plan. I am on the Conservation Commission as well. And the planner had asked us to tour the property. That's why we did. So to answer your question, Mr. Renzi, it was at request of the town planner to Mr. Rathbun, who's the chair of the board, and we subsequently walked the property per that request.
Yeah, Michael had told me, I didn't realize that. I guess there hasn't been a traffic study. I don't believe, I guess just common now, Michael, if they put 5 homes, the average 2 cars per home, you're going to increase the neighborhood by 10. If they have 3, it's going to be 15. I guess the only time there'll be traffic is going to and from work. I mean, I don't think we're going to have an increase of traffic coming up and down the road that's really going to annoy anybody. That would be the same in any neighborhood that a new house goes in. You're going to increase a little bit of traffic. I don't know if T Parker's a cut through, is it somewhere?
It's not a cut through, but there's certainly enough traffic that comes up and down on a normal day as people are coming and going from work and various points during the day as well. And certainly speed is definitely a concern. I've got 2 young children, and they're frequently out on the road. And I can appreciate, your comments towards Mr. Rogers as far as taking care of maintenance as far as the road is concerned. But the sure sign of rain out on T Parker is when they're patching the holes, it's going to rain pretty hard right after. So it's definitely an ongoing concern for us. And we certainly want to make sure that whatever's done as far as any development, it's done responsibly. And I'm not speaking as a conservation member, but certainly that's a belief of mine. But we want to make sure that the town is preserved as far as the rural character. And we continue to maintain that going forward. We moved to Foster for certainly a reason. I have concerns about T Parker as well. There's another lot up the road that's up for sale. It's 1.4 acres. There's a lot adjacent to mine that's 3.9. Both of them have the 3.9 acre lot. I believe there's a proposed home that's going there. I'm not sure how that's going to happen. The lot for sale, that's 1.4 acres that was adjacent to the campground that was there. I'm concerned about if that's permitted. The lot size is, we moved in, I was told 5 acres, and I'm certainly concerned if there's lots, whether it be on the proposed development or elsewhere in town, that are not meeting that expectation. So I appreciate being heard, and if anybody wants to add anything on the board, I would certainly welcome any further comments.
Well, a traffic study was not done, and for the reasons that was already stated, I mean, this is only a 6-lot subdivision. Plus, lot number 1, which is the most westerly lot, that's only about 1,200 feet away from Old Plainfield Pike, which is a paved state road. So I don't, and Mike, you had just suggested that T Parker is really not a cut through. So for somebody on the lots that are on Pierce Road to go down T Parker, and as you're describing it, is maybe not the most accommodating road. They're going to be going out to the paved road, Old Plainfield Pike. So as far as the overall impact, as far as traffic count, I think it's going to be absolute minimum at best. With regards to speed, I get this all the time whenever I approach a planning board, and I'm not passing the buck, but that's strictly an enforcement issue, and you've got to contact the appropriate people in town.
No, I can appreciate that. However, depending on where a home is located on Pierce or T Parker, some folks who live on T Parker use Pierce Road to get home, depending on where they're coming from. If you're working in Providence and you're living on T Parker, on Pierce, you very well may take T Parker to get back home. So it all depends on where you live in relation to the road. Though the paved road may be the easiest route, it might not be the quickest route. So I just want to add that.
If it continues and there is a lot of traffic, Michael, again, go up the ladder and contact the chief and have him maybe, I mean, I live on Central, and I asked him to check it out, and they put a car there, and within a couple of days, the speeding stopped. So I think if you mention it, if it's an issue, mention it to the chief, and I'm sure somebody will keep an eye out there. And if there's somebody that's causing a problem, I'm sure they would take care of it. That's the only, I mean, the planning board and the builder and would have, it's out of our control. There isn't anything we can do about that. Helen, I'm sorry.
I can appreciate that. Just making my voice heard. That's all.
No,
Thank you.
absolutely. That's what you're supposed to do. I don't blame you.
And
Helen?
Michael Galligan, you might want to contact the town hall and check on the lots, because as you are well aware, I know 4.69 is the requirement for lots. There are some lots in town which are pre-existing lots of record, which are smaller, but they would have a lot of constraints to development. So you might contact town hall just for your own benefit.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I know that's not germane to the discussion this evening, but knowing that there's additional lots that are under consideration for development, it's certainly an additional concern. That would be with the 6 that are on Pierce and T Parker, that would be 2 more within this area that could certainly be built upon within the next year or 2.
Thank you. Anyone else have any other concerns? Mr. Barris, do you have something to say?
Yes.
You have to be sworn in. Barbara?
Okay.
Please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to help you God?
Yes.
Please state your full name and spell your last name for the record.
D Tavares, Deetavares. So thank you. I've been coming to these meetings, so you all already know the concerns that I've expressed, and they're in the record. And I understand that, it sounds like this is going to go forward. Just wondering, I did ask about the oversight for the construction of, it's a small town, and, the plans look really good and pretty comprehensive as to what needs to happen to prevent the existing property and the abutter. And just concerned how, if I call somebody and I've got a flood, is that just DEM to come and take care of that? And then I'm going to have to, do whatever expense to then renovate the landscape or whatever damage is done.
Is that during construction or once it's, all the precautions have to be done during construction by the builder, and whoever's doing the site work are responsible for that. Okay, the building and zoning official, when we get one, will keep an eye on that. Now, I guess my question to Dr. Bonds, are you selling the lots individually for people to build homes on it, or are you going to build all them homes at once? I don't think they're going to build 5 homes right away on that property.
Dr. Barnes needs to be sworn in. He was never sworn in.
Oh, let me ask Norbert so we don't have, would Norbert answer it?
So,
All right, Dr. Bonds, get sworn in, so in case somebody asks you a question.
Do you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to help you God?
Yes.
Please state your full name and spell your last name for the.
Michael, Barnes.
Okay, Dr. Bonds, you're planning on selling these lots as individual lots for potential homeowners, correct?
Correct.
I'm just guessing at that. I mean, I could be wrong. You could develop them and build them yourself.
So plans can always change, but at the present time, I'm planning to sell. There's several people who have approached me about purchasing them, and I've spoken to each person who's approached me in that capacity and said they have first right of refusal. I do not believe I'm going to sell all 6. I'm going to hold, my current plan is to hold some of them, but I'm not, the Cliff Note version is no, we're not expecting to put 5 houses up in the next year, and it wouldn't be me putting up those 5 houses in the next year. There are individual people who have approached me to buy individual lots.
Right.
What they choose to do with them, whether they build immediately or not, is up to them.
And that was where I was leading with this, Mr. Barr, is I don't think you're going to see 5 excavators out there all in one day digging up the property. Be nice for the town. Well, I take that back. So I don't think you will see that happening. And if there is a problem, the builder is responsible during the building, after it's built. The homeowner, and you would have to go to DEM or the zoning official in town first, and somebody will take a look at it, and everybody will stop pointing the fingers at everybody, and we'll find out who it has to be. But that really has no relevance to putting them up right now. That's just my experience of doing this stuff in the construction business. So,
And again, a number of people have approached me. I plan to sell individual lots to those people. I do plan to hold a couple. I have zero intention of building something in the next year, but that doesn't preclude me from doing something down in the future with some of the lots we hold. But unequivocally, I personally will not be building on the property in the next year.
anything else, Mr. Varas?
No, just personally, I would purchase all of the properties if I could, just to keep them rural. And because that's why most of us moved here.
Today is what, Wednesday. Powerball come out tonight? I would go jump in on that and maybe we can.
Conservation, well, we did have the Linda who was here last time, and she, talked a lot about the property. It's just beautiful. It's beautiful land here. And those of us that are on the call and live in the neighborhood, that's why we're here. And, just want to make sure that the integrity of the land is maintained, as you would if it was abutting your own property.
I'm sure the homes that are going to be built on that property won't be inexpensive. I'm sure they'll be kind of expensive, or the median, and I'm sure everybody's going to take a look at the neighborhood and try and keep it that way. We hope that's what they do. Okay, and your land was pretty too before you built your house.
My house was already here.
Built it. I mean,
It was from the 70s, so.
Okay. Anyone else? Okay. Now I guess anybody for the project? Okay, the pleasure of the board.
There is a motion in your packet that someone can read.
I lost my packet. It was over here.
Does everybody have the draft motion? Do I need to bring it up?
I hate doing this.
Anthony, you can't do it.
I know that. I just
Mike,
want,
if you would bring it up, I'd be happy to read it.
I want to see it. I can't even
Okay.
see it. That's what's giving me gas.
So just, if you're gonna make the motion, just announce your name so Barbara knows you're making the
Mike
motion.
Carpenter, motion to approve draft motion, affirmative. If I may continue,
Go ahead, Michael.
I move to grant preliminary plan approval for the proposed 6-lot major subdivision. Whereas the applicant, Michael and Susan Barnes, and representatives of the applicant and owners appeared before the planning board for property located at T. Parker Road and Pierce Road, being Plat 3, Lot 34 on 72.8694 acres in an agricultural, residential, AR zoning district for a 6-lot major subdivision with proposed single-family dwellings. And whereas the applicant submitted plans titled Subdivision Site Suitability dated November 11th, 2020, signed and stamped by Norbert A. Theron, PLS number 1739. And whereas the board entered the plans submitted onto record as Exhibit A, and whereas the application was submitted and signed by Michael Barnes, owner of T. Parker Road and Pierce Road, Plat 3, Lot 34. And whereas the planning board received reports and testimony from town departments and representatives of the applicant regarding the application. And whereas the planning board heard and approved the major subdivision as a master plan on February 17th, 2021. And whereas the development meets all zoning and setback requirements further, and whereas the plan conforms to the criteria set forth in Chapter 32, Section 184, Preliminary Plan Subdivision Requirements. Having considered the requirements of Rhode Island general laws of 1956 as amended section 45, 23, 41, 45, 23, 60, and 45, 23, 63, and based on the public informational meeting conducted before the planning board and on testimony presented to the board and recommendations of the staff and review and consideration of the exhibits made part of the record and personal knowledge of the area in question. Now the approval is subject to the following conditions. Condition 1, master approval is based on
Mike.
plans.
There's just a few changes to that. I can read that section for you so that I don't.
Okay.
It should state, condition 1, preliminary plan approval is based on plans entitled Proposed Major Subdivision, Michael A. and Susan C. Barnes, Pierce Road and T. Parker Road, Assessor's Plat 3, Lot 34, dated November 23rd, 2020, prepared, stamped, and signed by Norbert A. Therian, registered professional land surveyor, and marked as Applicants Exhibit A at the January 20th, at the April 21st,
21st.
2021 Planning Board meeting.
Thanks, Joanna.
I will continue. Inserted conditions. The planning board further finds that the proposed development subject to the conditions imposed, number 1, is consistent with the comprehensive community plan and has satisfactorily addressed the issues where there are no inconsistencies in accordance with Rhode Island General Laws, Section 45, 23, 30. Number 2, is in compliance with the standards and provisions of the Foster zoning ordinance in accordance with the Rhode Island General Laws, Section 45, 24. And number 3, will cause no significant negative environmental impacts. Number 4, will not create individual lots with any physical constraints to development. That building on those lots according to pertinent regulations and building standards would be impracticable, and 5, has adequate and permanent physical access to public street for the development. Number 6, provides for safe circulation, adequate surface water runoff, suitable building sites, preservation of features that contribute to the attractiveness of the community, and allows for adequate delivery of municipal services. And finally, number 7, minimizes flooding and soil erosion. May we have a second?
Second, David.
Have a roll call. Helen? All in favor?
No. Mike Carpenter,
Aye.
Hillary,
Aye.
Warren,
Aye.
David,
Aye.
Anthony,
Aye.
and me too. So that's 6-0 in favor of the preliminary plan.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Dr. Buck.
Barbara, you're all set too. Thank you. Nice to see you.
Bye, everyone.
Hi, Barbara.
Bye.
Bye, Barbara.
Okay. All right.
So I think next we just had, I kept the economic development survey on. Hillary, do you have any updates on that? I know George isn't with us tonight.
Sure, I'm unmuted, yes. No, I think I talked with George today, and I think I sent to you the link to the most updated version.
Oh,
Yep.
did you?
Like about a week ago.
Sorry.
But anyway, so I guess there were, I guess the The only question was, in terms of if we are going to offer some kind of incentives for people completing the survey, what's our budget and so forth, and should we come up with a proposal for, 10 soliciting, or purchasing gift certificates or something from, say, 10 places in town for $25 or what, like we never really got down to actual details about how we're going to fund or even indeed if we definitely are going to offer some kind of financial incentive to have people complete the survey. And for the record, George and I we like to be optimists and hope that people would complete the survey without requiring incentives, but I know that other people don't feel that way. So in order to get an adequate number of people.
It wouldn't hurt.
Right, well, yeah, and then also the thing that, when we talked about having it be, actual, involving actual businesses in town, that would kind of add a nice touch to it, for sure.
1 second, Helen. Actually, Mike, you can wait. Helen,
Just informational, Anthony. Hillary, do you and George have, I believe it's our code. Joanna, you can help me here. Does that sound like section 3451, tax stabilization incentive for industrial, commercial and manufacturing facilities? I believe that's in our code, right?
Talking about the zoning ordinance, Mike?
Yeah, I think so, Helen. I'm looking at history here, and that was the title. It was Article 3, and I believe it's in our code, tax stabilization incentive for industrial, commercial, and manufacturing facilities. And I know Hillary and George are working real hard on this economic development project, and that's something they should have a copy of.
That was an ordinance, and I think that there was like a sunset, but it was not part of the zoning ordinance. That was part of our general ordinances.
yeah, we put that in and gave them.
I think they should have a copy of that, don't you? Because it was pretty detailed in terms of structural guideline, and it deals with authorization, purpose, definitions, eligibility criteria.
Mike, what section is that? And I'll just
Yeah,
forward it to
Yeah,
Hillary.
it was Article 3, Section 3451, 52, 53, 4.
Mike, it may be in an old.
Yeah, it is old. It is old, but it's relevant,
No, but I'm just I mean, Mike Antonellis, if he's looking for it to send out, I think it's probably in one of the older versions of like that big black book with the ordinances. I'll check at my office if I have it and
great.
scan it in.
Great. Yeah, because they're working really hard, and I came across this and I said, gee whiz, this would be really helpful for frameworking, not necessarily for mimicking, but for frameworking, it's a progressive element that goes out 10 years.
It's still on the books.
Provide a continuing incentive, tax incentive for business development, not to be buried. I'm sure someone spent a lot of time putting this together.
Mike, is that still on the books?
I don't think it is, Anthony.
I don't think so, Anthony.
I think I just found it posted online. Hold on.
I thought we did a little.
There you go. There you go. There you go, Mike. You're an online guy. That's
Can you
pretty
go
cool.
down, Mike? Because I there was something that had like a sunset phase, but I think that was what I'm thinking of was for the resident. It was.
No, we did put one out there for business.
And Anthony, you know the one that I'm talking about, right?
Yeah, I know exactly which one you're talking about, and we gave them like 5 years to do it all.
Yes,
3
yes.
years to do it.
All right, but that's not this one.
No.
Okay.
I think this is probably coming from the 70s or something,
Really?
What?
It will tell you above when it was first enacted. It
I
like,
guess it didn't work, Mike.
Yeah,
well, but a lot of people don't know about what we have.
Phew,
yeah,
that's interesting.
yeah.
I wonder if somebody showed up to town hall with this, putting up a building. What they I wonder-
Don't go there, Anthony. Don't even go there.
I wonder-
Mike, you want to scroll down to 3460 for the sunset?
Oh, thanks. Yeah, I was carefully scrolling to see when that would come in. That is the very last thing. Thank you.
I wonder what Patty Moreau would say if you walked in her office with this.
Yeah,
Probably have a
48
stroke.
months. This is, yes, this is the one. So
Okay.
the effective date, I mean, can you scroll back up so we can try to figure out when this thing was actually?
2016, I think.
Yeah, this is the one I worked on with this. We did this together. This, it seems old, but this is the
2006.
when?
That says 2006, but if you scroll down, I think, yeah, this says
Yeah.
2016.
All right.
So it looks, it was
let's
probably
look at that.
updated at some point.
So, but
So
yeah,
4
48
years
months.
from that.
Yeah, so I'd like to thank Hillary and George for working real hard on this, which is why I dug in a little bit and came up with this for them. And that's probably what I should be doing more of, because Helen and I are historical.
Does that mean you're old?
No,
Oh, I'm sorry, Mike.
No, they're valuable assets to our board. They know everything.
So,
do.
but that said 48 months, which is 4 years from May of 2016, which was May of 2020. So, but also how I'm not quite clear on, I mean, George and I can certainly read this, but I'm not sure how this affects what we put in the survey, which was,
just reference data, Hillary, that, obviously everybody's been looking at this for a long, long time. So there's a lot of good information here.
Maybe, Hillary, maybe a question. I don't know. See, we're asking residents. I don't know. This is just a question if tax incentives would entice somebody to, something of that nature, maybe,
But, sorry.
Go ahead.
Because what Hillary and George, this is, it's useful for everybody to know, and we should all, reread this. But for Hillary and George, who are developing the survey, I don't think it's particularly germane to them in developing the survey. But if I can say one more thing, if I'm not sure where the money would come from, but if we had a little thing for the survey where we offered, where everybody who completed it, name went into a raffle, and we had 4 $25 gift certificates to Shady Acres.
right, that was the kind of thing that we were talking about.
Right.
Or whether it was all Shady Acres or 5 or 6 different places, but
Shop.
many places.
yeah, I think, I mean, because we tried to, when we listed, I think there's one section where we listed like a variety of business types and said, do you think there are too many, too few, other things that you'd like to see? And I think some of them I think included in there, including like low-income housing, and there's some things here that I just, when you were scrolling up and down that, but again, I guess this, I still don't see necessarily, I mean, this would be more pertaining to types of businesses that the town would be trying to, what's the word? I wanted to say like entice, but that wasn't the word. To encourage. But if it's already also sunsetted, I don't know how. Just looking at some of the key words as you're going up and down and by, but I don't.
Yeah, I mean, that's something we have. I don't see where it's going to fit into your survey, what we can do is, I guess, do we make a request to the town council for a couple of $100?
So
Like-
I already put that in my budget and presented that to the town council.
Oh, okay.
So we just need to identify what businesses we're going to purchase gift certificates from and go from there.
Might have to go to financial town meeting to get the 200, but hopefully they'll give it to us. The businesses is somewhere, you know, we only have a few that would come into play, you know, Shady's and, you know, whatever, but you guys figure it out. It's someplace where somebody's gonna go or wanna go or willing to go, and if they don't, they can give it away, you know? I mean, I don't know if we wanna give them.
So
Guns and tattoos?
we'll have to see what we get approved for my budget request. I think I put in for $2,500.
Really?
Yeah.
What are we having, a party after that?
Yeah, but part of that was for, if you remember, because I know Mike Carpenter was, there was all that printing and all the other stuff. It's not just.
Yeah, it included a lot of stuff.
Yeah,
but-
so who should create the budget, or if we know, if we could start by working with, I guess we need a budget, we need a plan, a hardcore plan for what we're going to print, how we're going to distribute it, where we're going to get incentives from, and who's going to manage that. Do we do that?
Yeah, why not?
Okay. Just asking.
Yeah, why not? You guys are
I'll
doing it.
work with Michael on this, or,
Yeah,
yeah?
I'm cool with it.
Okay.
Would it be possible for you and George to work with Mike and the town hall to come up with a plan and tell us what you like? And
Yeah, focus on how you want to distribute, what it'll cost. Like, I know George was looking into the various online programs to use in order to host the survey. So I forget where he left off on that and how much that was going to cost. So if you could get a breakdown on that cost, you know, if we're doing any sort of handouts or anything like that, you know, a couple reams of paper, I'm sure I could get whatever our cost is through the office, what that charge, you know, whoever our provider is, if WB Mason, I don't know who it is. You know, I could get a cost, what it's going to cost to print off a couple reams of paper, depending on what we want to distribute, that sort of thing. So.
Yeah.
It would be good to find out if I mean, creating printed paper surveys seems pretty old school, obsolete. I feel like there's a lot of reasons to not go that route, and maybe the paper would be limited to you know,
QR
flyers or
codes.
something.
Yeah.
Yeah, QR codes would work. Yep.
Yeah.
Something that would just bring them right to the site. So
I was thinking, yeah, go ahead, Helen, sorry.
possibly, you know, I agree. And I think many people would be more likely to do it that way. The exception would be the older population, like me.
Maybe I'll just keep a couple of paper, if I could have some sort of like administrative capabilities, or even if I had a paper copy, I could just keep it at my office, and anytime I get a resident come in, I'd say, I'm not going to talk to you till you fill this out. And then I'll submit it on their behalf afterwards.
Or if there is some mechanism where people, you know, put it in the Observer or the Foster Home Journal, probably more appropriately.
Yeah.
Anybody who would like to do it on paper should notify the town hall, and we can send a written copy out. Maybe that would be the mechanism.
So advertise, go ahead, I'm sorry.
When do they send out the tax bill? Stick it
There
in.
you go. That's what we did last time. Send it out with a tax bill.
Okay, the people get it with a.
yeah, they'll really like that.
Why not? I mean, yeah, well, they'll see their taxes. They'll be pissed off that it went high. then they'll just fill out the survey and see what comes of it.
And maybe they'll be biased when they fill it out because they'll be thinking that they want
I know, really?
more economic
Oh.
development to balance out the tax
Yeah,
levy.
but they would need to be educated first that
I know.
that doesn't always work that way. More development does not always increase revenue. So,
And-
but anyway.
And it's unfair. Actually, it's been pretty well shown that development of residential housing is
Certainly.
not make your taxes go down.
Oh, yeah,
It doesn't make your
I meant
tax
commercial.
commercial, big commercial. Okay, first of all, to get a $300,000, we have to come up with $10 million worth of commercial property, taxable property in Foster just to make $300,000. Okay, so all these little businesses that are worth $200,000 or $300,000 worth of property, we need a lot of them, okay, before you come up with a number. Now, back to the residential taxes, development of residential. I mean, this is where the road is split. Most of our money that when somebody builds it, your impact fees and everything doesn't come back to the town. It goes to a couple of these conservation commissions, and so we don't get any of that money in the town. Okay, so that's cash flow, and that's money that doesn't come into the town. And then they take their money and buy land, and we lose that. Now, if you have, Gloucester has taken up the idea of building expensive homes or whatever, projecting expensive homes. The tax revenue that you would get on an expensive home is pretty, well, it's pretty substantial. And the way we have 5 acres worth of property, a 5 acre lots here, we should be doing things like that, and the taxes would be higher. I mean, I'm only paying $21,000 a year in taxes, so I need my head examined. Okay, so if you had a bunch of them, I think, because you need both is what you need. And if I'm not mistaken, Michael, we have a limited number of homes that can be built in town at one time in a year. In reality, that should be expanded, especially during a building year. We can't say the schools are a problem. The schools are way down in numbers. So, you know, every house that's built, an impact fee from a home and taxes from a home, that's only our revenue right now. We don't have anything else but homes and taxes, you know? Until we can get Amazon to show up on Route 6 somewhere, we're in a heap of crap. But that's why we got the survey. And it's a circle, it's a wagon wheel. We have to start in the middle and expand out. And the start in the middle is to clean up Route 6, to entice people to come in and put businesses up and bring economy here to the town. But no one's gonna come to the town looking the way it does. So that's just me. I don't think anybody, you know, I don't think the first impression coming down Route 6 or coming in Foster is like, oh boy, let me build something here because this town is booming, you know? And right now is a booming craze and we're not taking advantage of it. So the sooner we get out a survey and the sooner we can get the town council to start making a move, I think it's a plan, right, Michael Carpenter? You need to have a plan 10 years out. I've been here 20, I haven't seen one thing happen. So they've had no plan. So that's what we have to do. And I'm not preaching, I just want to see Route 6 clean, because then after, when things start to develop, everybody can say, you know, Anthony, you were right, because I know I'm right, because I would have developed on Route 6 if Route 6 was developable. So we can go from there.
So Hillary, as far as developing a budget for distribution and that sort of thing, I'd written down advertising, as advertising in the Gazette was mentioned, or the I forget which one, but all of them. Yeah. I know it's in the Valley Breeze, it's $127 for each ad. So depending on how long you want to advertise for, we can get ad costs for those other publications as well and decide how many you want to go for. Yeah, it's pretty steep advertising cost.
I think the Foster Home Journal is
Foster Home
much
Journal.
less expensive.
Is it? Okay.
Right.
Yeah, because the
Maybe
Valley
we could
News
even-
goes a little bit further than just Foster, so that's why it's
Okay.
pricier. Although, I mean, they come to our meetings anyway, so I suppose if we make enough noise, maybe we can just get them to write an article. about
Right.
it.
Yeah, I just call one of them.
What are we advertising? That we're sending out
That, yeah.
That there,
Yeah.
that there'll be, there'll be
survey.
the survey online. You could win a prize, fill it out.
My hope would be that we could get a QR code and then we could advertise the QR code.
Oh, that would be really good.
what's it?
I know when I got my first COVID shot, that's how I don't know if any of you went to the state one, but they had us sit down and with your
Yep.
Yeah.
smartphone, click the QR
Yeah.
code. Oh my goodness.
All right.
5 minutes and I was,
Okay.
It's like when you go to the restaurant and you can pick the menu.
yeah.
the barcode.
Yeah, Anthony, it's like that square barcode that you can take a picture of and then it just brings you to the
website.
website.
Oh, they asked me to do that the other night in Applebee's. I had no clue what it was. So I said, can I have a menu?
How old are you?
I'm in the wrong.
Sorry.
If I didn't know what it was, my cop did. Did you know what it was?
No.
Okay, I rest my case, okay? I don't feel so bad now.
It's that app on my phone that doesn't work.
Yeah,
You don't need
you
it.
don't.
You don't need the app anymore. You just need your camera on your smartphone. It does
And
it
all I get is a
automatically.
picture of a QR code.
Are you
If you hold
wait,
it
hold on.
long enough,
Are you taking a picture of it?
What else do you use a camera for?
you just hover it over
Yeah,
it.
you don't.
Really?
You don't take.
And it'll
yeah.
ask you if you want to go to this site. It's very
Yeah.
easy.
Now I'm gonna go looking for one of these things, so I see if I can do it.
Do that. You do that. You can find them in magazines and stuff like,
Oh,
Martha Stewart, maybe your wife, or I don't know if
Should-
you read Martha Stewart, but they all Better Homes and Gardens, they always have QR codes.
You should
you
get
wanna
those
just
for the
track it.
business, Anthony.
Yeah.
So you would also advertise the actual URL itself. So
Exactly,
people can go Plug
exactly.
it in. So
Right. You have to make it in multiple ways, shapes, and form.
So I did send out that survey just a few minutes ago, so everybody has it. I know you're not going to do it now, but my apologies, Hillary. I didn't see that email come in. I saw it it said it was dated last Thursday. My apologies.
Oh, it's
but
okay.
sent
I
that
should have,
out.
I should have followed up with you to make sure, because anyway.
So everybody should have that now. And it looks like we have sort of a plan for how to, once we kind of get it together, how to advertise for this and get it out there to the public.
Hillary and George are going to bring us a proposal for maybe next meeting.
Is that in 2 weeks? Maybe?
It's gonna be May 5th is the next meeting.
Okay.
We'll probably do, depending on how much business we get. I don't have any additional applications right now, but the zoning board is kind of blowing up. So we got, I know a special use permit needs to come before you guys. And then that other variance, the gentleman who missed the meeting last time needs to come before us. So May 5th, and then we get that joint meeting with the town council. So Anthony, I'll talk to you how many meetings you want to do next month. I mean, it might be pretty busy if we're doing that joint meeting too, but.
Yeah, if you want to cancel our second meeting so that we'll have the joint one.
That's when it's gonna be warm and nice out, and we can stay outside and cut the grass, because the daylight is a little, yeah, we might have to cancel that.
Okay.
We'll have something to do. Helen, don't have to worry about your stuff outside. It won't get dark on you. What are we doing with, didn't we have Mr. Palisi's thing in December? What was that?
What do you mean?
His plan, didn't that come in? Did we record that in December?
His construction business.
I mean, we can't get into the details of it, but yeah, no, he received his approval for I think it was the preliminary and final
Yes.
for the subdivision.
Okay. All right, yeah, I was just wondering what was going on. I knew that was out there on the board. Now, so we are having our next meeting, Michael,
Yeah,
this month, and then we'll
Yeah.
go to one a month and see what's coming on.
yeah. I mean, I'd almost be in favor of canceling the next one, but we got to get those zoning board applicants in front of you guys.
Oh, we got stuff coming up? I
Yeah.
mean, interesting stuff.
Don't
Fine,
ask people to
interesting.
answer that.
Okay.
Do a live stream. You can ask him that in private.
All right. So do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second. Oh, we didn't need a
We
second.
don't have, I was
It's
waiting.
fine.
Remember
Don't worry
that.
about it. It's not a fatal
Still
flaw.
go.
8:38.
Okay.
Okay. Mike Carpenter,
Aye.
Hillary,
Aye.
Warren,
Aye.
David,
Aye.
George. Nope, I'm sorry, Anthony,
Yes.
and me too. Okay, so that's 6:00. We're at 8:39. We're adjourned.